They walk for Prada, pose for Chanel, and appear on the cover of Vogue before they're even 20. They're everywhere, and not because they rose through the ranks. They're the daughters of supermodels, the sons of rock stars, the nieces of Hollywood royalty. They're Nepo babies, and in fashion, they're thriving. But here's the problem. Behind every campaign they land, there are thousands of hard-working models who never get seen. Not because they aren't talented, but because they weren't born into the right family. Today, we're diving into how Nepo babies found success in fashion, why that success feels deeply unfair, and what this says about an industry that claims to value creativity, authenticity, and beauty, but often rewards connections over everything else. Let's define it clearly. A Nepo baby, short for nepotism baby, is someone who gets a leg up in their career because of their family ties. Their parents, or even extended relatives, are already powerful in the industry. That power opens doors, books gigs, and creates credibility before any talent is even proven. In fashion, this trend is everywhere. And it's not new. But in the age of social media, where everyone's watching, reacting, and comparing, the presence of Nepo babies has become harder to ignore. Here are just a few well-known examples. Kaia Gerber, daughter of supermodel Cindy Crawford. Lila Moss, daughter of the iconic Kate Moss. Lily Rose Depp, daughter of Johnny Depp and Vanessa Paradis. Iris Law, daughter of Jude Law and Sadie Frost. Kendall Jenner, from the Kardashian empire, whose fame alone created a direct path into luxury fashion. These models didn't fight for exposure or struggle to get signed. They were born into a spotlight, and fashion handed them a runway to walk on, often before they'd even taken a real modeling class. The result? An industry increasingly dominated by familiar faces, famous last names, and silent favoritism. Chapter 2. How Nepo babies get ahead. Here's what most people outside the industry don't see: how brutal modeling really is, for those who weren't born into it. Aspiring models go through years of unpaid shoots, test runs, rejections, body policing, and endless castings. They move across the world, often alone, with no guarantees. And even after years of grinding, many never make it past local campaigns. Nepo babies, however, often skip that process entirely. Kaia Gerber didn't have to hustle for years. She was signed at 13 and walked for Calvin Klein by 16. Lila Moss made her fashion debut in a major Marc Jacobs campaign. Lily Rose Depp was walking for Chanel with Karl Lagerfeld personally styling her. None of these women had to fight for visibility. They had stylists, PR teams, agents, and photographers in their orbit since childhood. Their first photo shoot might have been arranged through a parent's Fashion Week contact. That kind of access is power, and it's invisible until you realize how few people ever get it. Chapter 3. Why it's deeply unfair. The frustration with Nepo babies isn't just jealousy, it's about justice. Fashion sells itself as a dream maker. It's supposed to be about spotting that unknown girl in a crowd, turning her into a muse, and letting the world fall in love with her. But what happens when all the new faces are just celebrity kids with the same agents, walking the same shows, getting the same covers? It tells thousands of genuinely gifted, hard-working people, especially those from working class, immigrant, or underrepresented communities, that it doesn't matter how talented you are. If your parents aren't famous or connected, your chances are microscopic. For models who come from nothing, who sacrifice everything for even the smallest opportunities, watching a Nepo baby land 5 campaigns in a year feels like a slap in the face. Even worse, the industry pretends these Nepo babies are just like everyone else. They're not. And that denial makes the system even harder to challenge. Talent versus access. What really matters? Now let's be fair, some Nepo babies are actually good at modeling. Kaia Gerber is a strong walker with editorial presence. Lila Moss has grown into her own look and brings something new to shoots. Lily Rose Depp fits the high fashion aesthetic and plays into the luxury Parisian image well. But here's the thing, talent doesn't cancel out privilege. You can be good at something and still have had an easier path than 99% of people. When people say, she earned it, what they're really ignoring is how much easier it was for her to even be seen. She didn't get handed one opportunity, she was handed a full career blueprint, a built-in audience, and the benefit of doubt from powerful people. Most models will never get the benefit of doubt, no matter how hard they try. So when we celebrate Nepo babies as success stories, we ignore how many doors were quietly locked for others at the same time. Chapter 5. Fashion's Fake Inclusivity. Fashion constantly markets itself as a progressive, inclusive space. Diversity, representation, and authenticity are the words you hear in every campaign. But in reality, the system is still deeply elite. Nepo babies dominate the front rows and the covers, while genuinely diverse, fresh, and original talent remains underexposed. Even worse, the fashion world uses Nepo babies to sell relatability. Lily Rose Depp is often styled as edgy Parisian cool. Kaya Gerber is marketed as the girl next door with a runway walk. But these aren't real stories, they're manufactured aesthetics. Meanwhile, countless real stories about struggle, resilience, and uniqueness are buried because they're not attached to the right last name. The industry loves the look of rebellion, but not the reality of risk. So it chooses models who are safe because they're already famous, already rich, and already branded. That's not inclusivity. It's elite repetition. Wearing a new outfit can be done. The goal isn't to cancel Nepo babies. They didn't choose their parents, and some of them are working hard in their own way. But we need to stop pretending the playing field is level. We need to stop calling them self-made, or normal, or relatable. And more importantly, the industry needs to make room for models from outside the system, people with no famous relatives, no inside access, but with talent, drive, and something new to offer. Agencies should scout beyond fame. Brands should cast based on merit, not marketability. And the media should stop praising privilege as a personality. Fashion is at its best when it breaks rules, not when it recycles privilege. Nepo babies didn't create the system, but they're benefiting from one that excludes far more people than it uplifts. We all love beauty. We love style. We love the fantasy of fashion. But the fantasy shouldn't come at the cost of fairness. If fashion wants to stay alive, relevant, and real, it needs to look beyond the spotlight. It needs to give new names a chance to shine. Because behind every famous last name, there are thousands of people still waiting to be seen.